Erin, you are on the air.
Hey.
Hey, there you are.
Hey, what's on your mind today?
So this is actually the perfect day for me to call in because I have Aspergers. So,
Okay.
You know, hopefully that'll add to it.
Yeah, thanks for checking in.
I wanted to talk about rejection because I actually asked one out for the first time ever yesterday, and I got a rejection.
Many more to come.
Yes,
but also sorry to hear it.
And I'll just preface with that happens to all of us.
Sure. What's actually kind of interesting is that I can give you pretty detailed accounts of what I was feeling both before, leading up to it, and after because I had written them in messages to someone online. Would it be okay for me to read those?
Well, we want to keep it not. Is it a fairly short interaction?
I would say it's pretty short.
Okay, then yeah, sure.
Okay. The first one, I'm going to ask a guy out for the first time ever, and my emotions are just in flux right now. Happy at the possibility, scared of the rejection, worried about missing what seems like a great opportunity. I feel a lot more out of control than I'm used to, and it's a good thing, but it's anxiety driving. The guy I'm going to ask out just seems like a total package, and for the first time ever, I'm afraid that if I just let them go, I'll regret it. Before, I've always just admired crushes from afar. Maybe I did lose out on pursuing those, but I've never had this dread of that just happening without at least getting to actually fail. And admittedly, failure is one of the most difficult things I've ever had to deal with. But there's just so much that I like about them. Their improv-style humor, their intelligence, the way they treat their siblings. And let's just be honestly shallow. I think they're so hot and cute at the same time, which I love because they can basically be either of them.
No.
And a strange thing that I wouldn't have expected to have found intriguing is that our interests thus far don't have strong overlap, and we don't agree a ton. But it's not like hostile disagreement. I don't know quite what I wanted out of messaging you, but thanks for being here and being someone I can feel safe talking about with. And so that was the message, obviously before. And here's the one after, which is a lot shorter. So the stars aligned, and I had the chance to ask out my crush. I would have liked to have stayed more composed while speaking, but I can't blame myself for feeling nervous. I wasn't fumbling that badly. I'm proud of myself in the end. Feeling that, how do you describe it? Nervous charge when taking the plunge was interesting. Anyways, I was rejected, but I don't think I could have asked for a better one. They said no, gave me a hug, and told me they think of me more as a friend, which I'm still pretty okay with. It's better than wrestling with the uncertainty, and I'll be fine. I feel more happy than anything, which I'm kind of surprised about, obviously in a good way. They also gave me this red paper crown.
Yeah, well, I mean, definitely sounds like a catch, but I think I would just say that not the total package, not a perfect human being, because they're human beings. And there are plenty of other great, wonderful people, and I know that that is so trite and almost feels like it's not worth saying, but I really want to, I suppose, emphasize the reality that this person that turned you down isn't perfect. Sounds like it wasn't meant to be as lovely as it may have been, and that there are plenty of other really lovely folks out there that would be super interested.
Yeah, I would just say, too, that your texts honestly sound a lot like the journalings of, I mean, anyone going through that type of situation. And if this was your first attempt, then I say kudos, you did very well.
Yeah,
most of us cannot say the same.
Yeah, it very much sounds like you're handling that in a pretty mature way, and that's great to hear. You know, I always want to encourage people to do the ice cream and the TV binging and the sad thing that you need to do when you need to do it, for as long as you need to do it. I mean, it's nothing wrong after a big breakup or something like that to really really indulge.
Or your first
for a minute.
Your first big rejection is definitely up there on that list.
So there's no need to rush to move past that to get to a happy place. It is okay to spend some time there. But, at a certain point when you're ready, and it sounds like you're moving pretty quickly towards that, getting up and getting back to the gym, sleeping 7-8 hours a night, eating 3 to 5 times a day. I mean, these basic things that we so often take for granted and even forget about are critical to getting through any sort of emotional turmoil.
Sure. I mean, and I feel like a little bit crestfallen today, but it's, when I think back to when it actually happened, I still end up feeling happy after it.
Yeah.
I think it's nice.
It's nice to be shot down when you know that you took a swing, when you know that you went to bat, that you put yourself out there, because there's nothing you can control. You can't change them, as Megan said, but you can control yourself. And it sounds like you handled this as well as anybody could ask you to. So that's the real takeaway for me, because if you keep doing that, if you keep dating in a way that is kind and compassionate, respectful of other people, and willing to put yourself out there, those habits are going to pay off in the end.
Well, that's reassuring to hear. And I was just kind of interested in hearing what your guys' experience was with rejection and kind of some of the lessons y'all have learned along the way.
Oh, boy. Okay, rejection. Well, it started in preschool.
Yeah.
And did not get any easier since then. But I would say some lessons learned are definitely, you're worth it. No matter what someone else may, despite any rejection you may receive, at the end of the day, you are still worth it. So it's worth trying again. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but it's worth trying again, because at some point, you are going to hit a home run, and it will be spectacular.
Yeah, and I sincerely think that it gets easier each time to a certain extent. I mean, there might be moments where you feel so beaten down, you've been turned down, rejected so many times that you're not ready to get up and try again. And I think you should listen to yourself in those moments. However, I do think that when you stop looking at every potential crush, every person that you meet as a possibility and the only one for you in the relationship of a lifetime, and start to become comfortable with the idea that there are some 7-odd billion people on the planet, and you're going to get rejected by most of them if you were to try and ask them out, but there are still plenty of wonderful people that'd be very interested in you. So knowing that it's okay to get shot down, and if you ask 100 different people, you're likely to get more than a few yeses in there.
Yeah, I think part of the reason that I'm kind of coping with it pretty well is that, ahead of time, I was very, I just kind of thought with myself, I need to be okay with being rejected. And, I kind of processed that first before going in. So once it actually did happen, even though, it's not what I wanted, I was more okay with it because I'd prepared myself mentally for it.
That's definitely, I was going to say, that's definitely something I do. And it doesn't, not just for relationships or, that kind of thing. For most things in life, I tell myself it's not happening until it's happening. It's not a sure thing, and don't be upset or sad when something doesn't happen, because it wasn't already happening. So
yeah, taking stock of your life and realizing that missing out on this job, this date, this opportunity is okay, because you still have a great life.
You haven't lost anything.
Yeah, it sounds like you're handling things really well. Get out there, get rejected more, and give us a call back if there's anything else we can help with.
I definitely will. It was nice talking to y'all.
Oh, you too.
Hey, thank you so much.
Yeah, I'd say rejection is definitely a tricky one, and it hits us all in different ways at different times.
Yeah, part and parcel of life. And I think one really valuable thing we heard from Erin that, I think is worth highlighting is just his respect for the person who shot him down.
Yes.
So often, and particularly I'm talking to guys here, frankly, just the way that we're raised in this particular culture, there's a major sense of entitlement, of being owed a debt, of a relationship or whatever else, whether that's sex or a second date or anything. And so recognizing that it is perfectly acceptable for somebody to not like you, or maybe like you, but just not be in like with you, or want to fall in love, or be in a place in their life, or whatever it might look like.
Right. Yes. I would say for women, there's definitely the feeling of a lost opportunity.
Sure.
Because we are, of course, taught that every man is an opportunity, right, to have
Potential husband walking by.
Yes, exactly. It's a potential future. Every single one of them is a potential future. And that's so ingrained from an early age that the rejection, I think, for women sometimes is harder because it's not just a loss of this one opportunity. It's a loss of a lifetime of opportunities. All right, on to the next one, rejection. Okay, loss of a whole nother new range of opportunities. Go on to the next one. And so you're more, in a way, not just mourning your ego, but you're also mourning all the things that never happened, which is really sad, and it's horrible that that is the idea that's impressed upon girls, but it's true.
Yeah, I hear that. And I think that, in the past few years, as I've been dating more, I've really learned the value of acknowledging that you're going to get rejected a lot. And if you just keep doing things the right way, it's going to pay off eventually. Now, I mean, granted, I do look like this, but, for people who aren't as lucky, who maybe have things like interesting personalities or the ability to communicate with women, we're all working with different tools.